For those that don't know who I am, my name is Matt Burden. I am the co-founder of the Ignite After Dark program that we run in the evenings across the country. Former tech trainer, labs advisor, trainer, coach, agent. Run the whole gamut of different things. And KW approved trainer. I like engagement. I like fun. The more we do it, the better it's going to be. So again, the more cameras we're going to have on, the more fun we're going to have. And for those that aren't aware, that when we get to asking questions and we're looking for engagement and all of you to share all of your great stuff, when it's quiet as it is right now, I am the one that will bring sound effects and question everything in your life of what's happening. Why are we here? What are we doing? So, Christy's new this week as well. No, Felicia, you're new this week as well. I take it. Okay, a lot of new people this week. Oh, there's Andrew. Thank you, buddy. Oh, and there's Erica. We're wearing the olive green tonight. I see. What colors have I missed? It's the simple things in life, Erica. Like I know when you show up, there's going to be something different. So I'm taking note of the colors. I pay attention. It's what I do.
Exactly.
You'd be shocked that I pay that much of attention, and I'm still single. I don't get it either. So, how we doing?
Good. How are you?
All right. So, who wants to share? What did we learn from Seth last night? That was a good takeaway. Something you were like, "Oh my goodness, that was amazing," or "I didn't know that," or collectively from last week to where you got with Seth last night. How are we feeling? Give me some ahas, some joy, some celebrations, whatever you want to call it. Still letting people in here, as I'm sure you guys know. So,
A lot of good tips about building your database.
a lot of good tips about building your database. Okay. What else we got?
Open houses. Just a lot of good information that he shared with us.
All right. Well, we're going to go deeper into some of that. We're going to get more in tonight into what it looks like to once we capture the leads. We'll talk a little bit more about lead capture because I think it's important to understand that realistically, that is your main job, right? Lead generation. Yet, if you're going to do the lead generation, you have to do the lead capture as well. Once you capture them, well, what do we do with them, right? Do we have any fishing people around here? Go out and go fishing at all, or know somebody who fishes? Are they a catch and capture, or are they a catch and release? So what are we doing with the leads that we get? Are we just saying hi and just letting them swim off? Or are we actually going to bring them on the boat and we're going to cook them up and have them for dinner? Or in our case, we're going to turn them into profitable business. Okay. It's the best analogy I got on the fly right now. I wasn't prepared for that. It just kind of popped in my head. So no judgment, right? We listen, we don't judge. We can laugh though. That's okay. I'm okay being laughed at. I do it all the time. So, all right. Any other takeaways? Any other ahas? Any little things you've picked up over the past week so far? How are we feeling in general? How are we feeling about your business? And for the new people that are in here, the people that are just new this week, or I didn't see last week, I know I was with you guys twice last week. Drop in the chat where you're from, how long you've been in the business. Let me get a vibe on where we are. I know most people are around that 2-year mark. I don't see Brian here. Brian, I think, is our senior one, our most advanced with 20 some years, I think he had. So I don't see Brian on here tonight. But where are you guys tuning in from? How many years experience we got, particularly for our new people? That steadily over there typing away, it looks like. Just on the keyboard. See, look. Nashville, brand new. LA, 4 months. There's my Dallas Preston group. Viva, Illinois, Chicago, Dallas, Florida. Florida in this time zone? All right. It's 9 o'clock for you, like it's 9 o'clock for me. I think Jimmy Buffett's our, I call it Jimmy's song, but it's really Alan Jack's song. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, but we'll work with 9 o'clock somewhere tonight. So just signed on July 1st this year, Illinois. All right. Congratulations. Oh, in Houston from Florida. Okay. Fair enough. You're still stuck in Florida since you're telling me. I'm like, well, where are you tuning in from? So, all right, got it. Fair enough. All right, so let's jump in tonight if you guys are ready. Appreciate the little feedback. Remember, for those that don't know, cameras on if you can. If you're someplace you can't do it, I completely understand. But the more cameras we have on, the better the experience is going to be for all of us. And yes, I will call you out when I see the facial expressions. It's just the way it goes. Like, we need to engage. We need to make sure that we're getting the content in that we're putting out. Okay. So with that said, tonight we're going to be going over our 2 sessions of keeping every lead and lead follow-up. You guys talked about lead capture last night with Seth, open houses, social media. What was something from your open house conversation that you guys either like learned or was reinforced, or just one of those like, I never thought about that? Seth is an absolute genius. It's a shame this is being recorded. He's going to know I said that about him, but we'll let him have it. So what's one thing about an open house that you learned last night from Seth?
To utilize your sphere of influence.
In what way? What does that mean to use your sphere when it comes to open houses?
Could mean a number of things.
Okay.
Well, for me, I have never done an open house, so I'm new to this. So
Opportunities knocking.
I know. um, I don't know. For me, because I have I live in Eastville, so he was saying identify your community and your interest group. So like um fun fact about me, I write screenplays for a hobby. So I don't know, I
She's a
have to
hobby.
jump in that pool. It's a hobby because it hasn't jumped off yet. So that's why I said even though I've been doing it for years, it's just hard to get in the business. But so like, just utilizing some of those contacts, reaching out. I have a lot of work to do yet. So, just making sure I take the time to reach out. Even though it's been a minute since I've talked to certain people, just try to reconnect with them and hopefully, be able to help them out somehow or another if they don't have homes, if I can get, potential leads by just, talking to them and re-engaging.
So
Yeah.
tonight, thank you, Erica. Tonight's going to help you with that. So when we're talking about open houses and our sphere of influence, it's about a touch. So it's about a touch that we're going to give to not just your database of people you already know, people you already connect with, but the leads that you have. There could be a lead in that area that may not actually be looking at that house. Now, keep in mind, I don't want to necessarily send out somebody a notice saying, hey, I'm doing an open house at this property, wherever it may be, and it's 1.4 million and they're in a $500,000 buying point. That's not actually going to work. You could reach out though and reference that there are other open houses within your market center, agents in your office that are doing open houses, and that it's in their price point. It may or may not be what they're looking for, yet give them an opportunity to go and look at something. Like, go check it out. You may change some of your things up. You may change your area. You may change some of your requirements, but it's an open house. It's not an inconvenience for me because I'm going to send you. It's easy for them. They go whenever they want in that time frame. The more important part is about a touch. Everything that we do is we have to make sure that we're staying top of mind with everybody that we have. Okay. Whether it's a lead, whether it's somebody in our database, our sphere, our friends, our family, any of that, we got to make sure that we're staying top of mind. And we're going to talk about that tonight. So, real quick, we're going to hit on the topics that we always have to hit when we do any type of trainings about telemarketing and TCPA. Make sure that you are being compliant with the do not call list, compliant with canned spam, and everything else. If you don't know what it is and you don't know how to be compliant with it, inside of Connect, if you go into Command and go into Connect, you can just search TCPA, do not call, canned spam. There are resources in there. If your market center, I know there is a market center in California because I spoke to the team leader. It was over a year ago. I don't remember who it was. I know that they are providing access to the TCPA registry for agents to access. At least they were. I don't know if they still are or not. And if your market center is not talking TCPA, they don't know what to do with it, tell them to reach out to me. I have an entire course on it, and I'll be happy to help you guys out with it. But making sure that we're following all the rules, regulations, and laws when it comes to the do not call registry. With that, real quick, because I know nobody's covered it this week because I'm the only one that's going to, what does the do not call registry actually mean? Short, sweet. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. I just want to touch on it, make sure everybody knows generally what it is.
Someone has registered their name with the organization to not be called by telemarketers.
You're close. They're registering their phone number more than anything. And yes, their name is connected because the registry is based by phone number, not by person. So yes, your phone number is on a national registry list. There are 13 states, I think it is, that have their own independent registry. So a number could be on the state or the federal registry or both. And our job, because we are telemarketers, we are salespeople, it's our job to check that registry on a regular basis. And if there's a number that's on that registry, we are not permitted to call them unless we get permission. Real quick, again, short, there are, I don't want to say loopholes, but there's parameters around that. If somebody contacts me and says, hey, I'm interested. So going back to the open houses, when we host open houses, our sign-in sheet needs to have language that says, I give permission to be contacted. There is certain language you need to use. Get with your market center, find a TCPA attorney to help you out with that, or just research it. It's readily available to find out. Then you have permission to call those people as long as they register and put their information in. So if we're receiving leads and capturing information, make sure that you have something on whatever you're capturing that they are agreeing to being contacted by you. If you stop and think, every website, every app you've downloaded, anything you ever done, and that little box pops up on the screen and says, click here to agree to terms and services, you're agreeing to be contacted, right? And none of us ever read that stuff. I don't think there's, unless you're an attorney, and even they probably aren't reading it because they want to go play Candy Crush, okay? So that's all there is to it. So just make sure that you're capturing properly and covering yourself. I'll talk about it again in a little bit when I get to one of the other sections. I'll bring up another example. So, all right, so tonight we are getting into our lead follow-up, and our lead follow-up is about keeping every lead tonight and following up with all those leads. Next week, you're going to get into strengthen those relationships. I'm going to touch on that just a tiny bit, give you a teaser to what you're going to be covering next week when it comes to that. So first, let's talk about the life cycle of a lead. Life cycle of a lead is when a person or persons are more likely to make a move. Have you guys seen this graph before? Or heard about the life cycle of a lead or anything like that? Thomas says yes. Okay. For those that have not, it's perfectly fine. We know that generally speaking, every 7 to 10 years, a person's going to make a move and or an investment. So sometimes they might not be moving as much as they're like, I'm going to invest in a piece of property. Maybe they're going to, instead of paying for college living, they're going to buy a property and split it with another, family, and they're going to put a couple of kids from the same school they're going to, or the same high school, going to the same college. So they'll buy a property and the kids will live in that. So that's an option as well. But roughly every 7 to 10 years, the people in your database are going to do a transaction. Not everybody, most of them though. So the life cycle is at the top of that, and this bump here, you're going to see the move. When we meet people and we capture information, we're going to capture them at any point in this. I literally could meet somebody today that just bought a house yesterday. And when I ask them about buying or selling, they may go, oh, I just bought a house like 2 weeks ago. Awesome. Do I discount them as a potential client? And should I or should I not capture their information? Says, yeah. So see, this is why I need the cameras on, because at least I can hear your head going up and down. Okay. So I appreciate it. Yeah, because in 7 to 10 years, I want them here. You guys ever heard of an orphan client? No. So an orphan client is the client that's represented by an agent who treats them as a transaction rather than a relationship. So that's the buyer agent or the selling agent that gets the listing, sells the property, and then never speaks to the client again. So even when you're in a transaction, you should be in some way, based on your local rules, regulations, and laws, talk to somebody about it in your area, capture the other party's information from the sales contract, whatever's there. Because once the contract's done, once you settle on the property, all the agency agreements are gone. They're done. The transaction's complete. There's no more agency agreement, right? There's no reason why I, representing the seller, right, can't go back to the house I just sold to that buyer and knock on the door, which you should be doing anyways, because after you do the transaction, you should be knocking on the door and telling the neighbors the house just sold and you got all this money for it and everyone's happy. And oh, by the way, go meet your new neighbors, right? It's a way to get you out there. But I can stop by in a week or two and say, hey, how's everything going? Remember me? I'm Matt. I was the agent on the other side of the deal. I just want to see how you guys are liking the house. I know you guys were looking forward to it. Their agent may never speak to them, or they may just get the occasional phone call or email or whatever, which isn't anything. If I stopped in the neighborhood, and if I stopped by again because I got another deal in the neighborhood, who's more likely to get their business in 7 to 10 years? Me, who's stopping by, or their agent who may or may not be in contact with them? So there's a lot of reasons why, regardless of where they fall on this graph, we want to be in touch with them. Knowing where they are on this graph is important as well, because at this point, if they're here, I'm probably not going to have a lot of contact. It's when they get to that halfway mark and I know they're on the way up the hill, this is where I'm probably going to spend a little bit more time reaching out, because they're getting closer and closer and closer to it. Okay. NAR studies show roughly, I think it's, I don't know what the numbers are for 24. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's probably still floating around 75 to 80%. 75 to 8% of consumers use the first agent they come in contact with. So being top of mind is the most important thing that we have, which falls into that whole being in contact and having a regular touch base and communicating with everybody, whether they're a lead or just my SOI, on a regular basis. And each one of these people that we're going to talk to meet a piece of this framework. So if I'm meeting all of you, let's say I'm hosting a real estate workshop right now. Some of you are on here with looking to buy, some are looking to sell, some of you may be looking to rent. Right now, you all are my possible business. You're the people I've met, you're the people I'm talking to, you are my possible business. Make sense? I've captured your information because you registered for this event, which you all registered for at night. I have your information. Now I want to start talking to you. And once I start talking to you, now you become probable business. As long as I establish the relationship, we start having the conversations, and it's a two-way conversation. You go from lead to contact. Now I got probable business. Now I'm really looking at that that timeline of that life cycle. And I want to know where you are on that life cycle. And where you are on that life cycle, it's going to tell me how close you are to profitable business. The profitable business is me actually doing a transaction with you. Okay. Yeah, it's a long game. In some cases, some not so much. Sometimes it's long, sometimes it's not. It depends on the lead and depends on the conversation. And we'll talk about a little bit about that. So does that make sense to you guys, that little bit that I just went over? Questions or thoughts around that? Because I got a lot of things I want to get into about this lead follow-up. It's like one of the most lead generation, lead capture, and lead follow-up are the biggest, almost the biggest things you got. So, all right, makes sense. Cool. This goes back to what I said when I first started. If you're not first or second in their mind, you probably won't get the business. So how do we do what we do? How do we stay top of mind with people? What do you guys say? How do I stay top of mind? Let me ask this question. Am I top of mind, or any of the other instructors top of mind for you right now over the past week and a half? Okay. What makes them, Thomas? What makes them top of mind?
The email reminders with everything.
Y'all getting your email reminders, right?
Yep.
Oh, by the way, for everybody that registered, you know, when you get that email, it lists all the classes on it. If you click on the button that says add to your calendar, it's going to be top of mind too, because you're going to get a notification every night. Oh, hey, I got class tonight. And then all you do is go in your calendar and click on the link and you sign into the class. It's another way to be top of mind. It's what we do to keep this program top of mind for you, to get you to show up and participate, right? Stand out in some way, follow up. I see that in the comments over there. That consistent outreach, touch points. We're going to talk about that tonight. Your personality sticks with me. Is that a good thing or a bad thing, Andrew? Can I tell you what my dyslexia read real quick? Your personality stinks with me. That's what I first saw, because I had to read it twice to make sure. Wait a minute. What? Oh, sticks with me. Okay. All right. Got it. All right. Whew. I was like, and then I saw who it was and I was like, oh, I definitely knew I read that wrong. All right. So we got to be top of mind. How are we going to be top of mind? When we capture our leads, there's a couple steps that we're going to take. And I went a little deep this evening inside of ChatGPT, and I'm going to share some of that with you guys as well when it comes to our leads. So let's define what a lead is. I'm pretty sure Seth probably did that last night. Yes, no, maybe. Okay. Recap for those that weren't paying attention or weren't here last night. A lead is a one-way conversation. That's literally somebody coming into the open house and registering. Yeah, I captured their information, but we are not in a relationship and we're not having a conversation. They become a contact when we're in that two-way conversation. So in order to get them from lead to contact, there are steps that we need to take. What we teach and what we coach to is a 19 to connect. Now, you can make this a 36 to connect. You can make it 106 to connect. Nothing less than 19 is what I would tell you to do. And there's a lot of different ways you can do this. This is just one way to do this. Sometimes your leads are you're going to do more early on. So in reality, you're going to do more than a 19 to connect. So what do I mean by that? What do you guys think I mean by that? What would I do as soon as I capture a lead? Okay, Erica talked about open houses. So I go to an open house, I host an open house, and I capture 10 people at the open house. What do you think my first touch should be to start that connect process that we're talking about right here?
Add them
Follow up.
database.
What's that?
First, we need to add them to the database, right?
Okay. So let's say we've already got them in the database. Matter of fact, if you are using the lead capture through command and your agent website, they're automatically going to go there. So it's there. So when would be the first touch after the open house, and what kind of touch could it be? I'm not going to say it should be, but what could it be? Everyone's right with follow-up, but I'm more particularly of like, what are we actually going to do? What's the activity that you can do?
You can do a text, or you can do the monthly neighborhood nature.
Monthly neighborhood nature. I see call, text, email. Those are all accurate. Pretty much all you can do in a way, right? I don't know where they live yet. And it'd be weird if I showed up at their house and never gave you the address. Yet you can do that. We can stalk them if we want to. So I'm going to do an immediate touch. Now, when we do smart plans, and we're going to touch on, I think you'll get some of that tomorrow in the tech side. When we do a smart plan, we have a smart plan for open houses. And the initial lead contact is an 8x8, or a couple different ways we say it. So it's an 8x8. It's a there's another term and I just lost it in my brain. I'll remember it a little bit later, I'm sure. Yeah, you want to touch them 8 times, and that 8 times can be 8 times in 8 days. It can be 8 times in 4 days. It can be 8 times in 6 days. It depends on how you want to go about it and how aggressive you want to be about it. So even before I get to this 19 to connect, which again, this 19 to connect is telling me 4 touches, which is a quarterly call plan. That's going to be if I can't convert them sooner. So one of the things you want to think about is when you're capturing the lead is, where am I capturing it from? What was the event or the activity? And what should I actually do for that follow-up? So I'll stick with the open houses since we talked about it. I'm going to use my lead capture in my agent website, so that when they show up to the house, they just fill out the registration form right to the website. It goes directly to command. I can then, you guys will learn this, so I'm kind of talking ahead. I can then set up a trigger in that smart plan as a new lead. And what will happen is they'll get an immediate text message. If you're using Twilio, they'll get an immediate email, or I'm going to get an immediate task that says I need to personally call or text this person at the end of the open house. I would probably lead to the task step being the first one. So that way, if I do my open house, say from 12 to 2, around 3 o'clock, I'm going to sit down and start following up with everybody that came. And it may be a phone call or a text. How would I decide if I want to do a phone call or a text to each lead that I capture? What could you use as a leverage or an indicator of this person's going to get a text, this person's going to get a phone call? What would be an indicator for that? There's a reason I asked this question. Interactions. That's it. Based on interactions. Were they talkative? Did they engage back with me? If they were cold, they were distant, and I captured their information, should I text them or should I call them? Text, text. How many people say text? Anybody say call? Text, text. Ashley's just saying called because I said call. It's okay. You can cheat. You can use my terms. It's fine. Text. All right. It's up to you and your personality at that point. We live and work in a very psychology-based environment when it comes to real estate. So would reverse psychology work to call the colder one? Like they were a bit standoffish or a bit shy. I'm going to show them that I'm not shy and I'm going to call them. Could it work? Maybe. Could you push them away more? Maybe. Got to roll the dice with it. Or you're going to do both. Maybe you make a phone call knowing they're not going to answer the phone. Then you send them a text message. Stop and think about it. How many of you all get phone calls on your phone and you look at it and you go, I have no idea who that is. Okay. For all of you that are going, oh, me, start answering the phone because you're in real estate. Okay. You never know when that lead's going to come in. You'll learn when not to, particularly when it pops up and says potential spam. 99% chance it's a spam. It's the ones that don't say that you want to roll the dice on an answer. Even they're going to be spam from time to time. However, Terry, I saw maybe busy or rushed in the open house, but they will remember you. Tell me more about that, Laquise, because what are you saying? If you call versus text when they were the quiet one, is that what you mean? You're going to stand out to them. They're going to go, wow, this person actually called me.
Yeah, so I don't mind my 4-year-old in the background, but I was saying that because if you think about it, the person that's most annoying to you, they stand out more than, I'm just being honest.
I know. I love the way you put it. I'd say the same thing. That's why I'm laughing. I'm like, who's annoying me the most? Who's in my face, right?
Right. So you're all, so when it comes time for you to say, oh, I want to purchase a home. Oh, wait, Laquise got on my nerves. She called me 5 times and I told her no, all 8 times. So it's like, oh, well, she was more persistent. Let me call her. So you're going to put that, it's like putting an imprint on their brain in a sense.
That's it. Yeah. And it's not going to work for everybody. And this is the one thing we have to accept in this industry is what I do with some is going to work. What I'm going to do with others isn't. And I can't not do something because I'm afraid it's not going to work. Okay.
Correct.
Speaking of the 4-year-old.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's all right. I got a little bit of a thunderstorm. So my 4-year-old, which is also a 4-legged, she's hiding someplace. So it'll be fine. But you have to choose also, are you more comfortable with it? So we also have that aspect that you got to get out of your comfort zone, right? If your comfort, and we can do this generational, right? Boomers, Gen Xers, are we more likely to text or make a phone call?
I'm calling.
Yeah, I see Brian.
Yeah, I'm calling.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a phone call. All right, millennials, Gen Z. All right, what's typically you're gonna do with that? By the way, it's not a text message, it's DMing on Instagram or something like that, most likely. Yet you have to know how they communicate. So you have to understand that in order to find the best way to communicate with all these people. All right. And act on it. And sometimes my business partner, matter of fact, he gets annoyed. He gets completely just livid sometimes. Why are these people texting me? They got to pick the phone up and call and talk to me. And I'm like, John, settle down. Like, it's okay. He's right most of the time, because these, particularly as agents that want to go back and forth about repairs or something, it's like, we can't hear what we're talking. Like, you could probably get a lot of this done by text and then follow it up with something, but figure out what works for you and what you're comfortable with. And occasionally get out of that comfort zone and try something different. Okay. So you're going to have an 8x8. So that's why I said you're going to do 8 touches in 8 days or 8 touches in 5 days, whatever it may be. That's separate from just this 19 to connect. That 8x8 or that 6x6 or 12x12, whatever you want to call it, how many touches you want to do in what time frame you want from the time you capture the lead, that's going to be based on that. You're going to convert those by doing that faster. If they don't convert in that 8 days, then they're going to fall into this 19 to connect. So over a period of time, and by the way, going back to the life cycle, right? Going back to the life cycle, I may have met them here, so I'm going to need time to get to this point over here. So it's important for us to try and find out where they're at. If we can't figure out where they're at, I would say assume that they're closer to the move and get a little bit more aggressive until you can actually find out. Because until you find out, you just don't have any clue. And we need to figure that part out. All right. So a 19 connect, questions and all that. Does that make sense? You guys good? Any other ideas or comments or thoughts? Because I'm going to get like crazy on you with some stuff. I'm going to dig into this 19 to connect because it's probably one of the most important things you need to do early on in order to get to your 36 touches, which is your true really lead follow-up. Sending information, market data count as a touch. Absolutely, it counts as a touch. If you look over here, matter of fact, in our 19 to connect, we're doing our quarterly call plan. And our quarterly call plan is every 3 months, you're going to make a phone call. What that phone call is and what that phone call looks like, it's going to look like this. So this is what we call our DTD2, do the database to. One of our MAPS coaches, Steve, don't ask me to say his last name because I can never pronounce it correctly. There's been research done to determine on average in any given database, based on last name, this is how you break your database down. On average, you're probably going to have less A last names and more W last names. So they're matching up one common to one least common, so that, because if you put in here like W and S, which are super common last names, you'd have like 400 people to call in a week. This is a weekly call plan, and it rotates repeats, I should say, every 13 weeks, which is every quarter. Currently, we're in week 3 of quarter 3. So we are on our D&O in P, meaning that we're going to call every person in our database, whether they're a lead, whether they're a SOI, regardless of what they are, we're going to call them if their last name has a D or an O in the beginning of it. And we're going to send text messages to those that have a P in their name. The whole purpose and goal behind this is so that we can then manage our database better by breaking it down into chunks, do this on a weekly basis, which then leads to us calling and or texting everybody in our database 4 times a year. So there's the 4 touches based on a quarterly call plan. Questions on that? Because I'm going to get a little bit deeper into some stuff. Speaking of that, I have to go find something.
Where do we get this grid?
The DTD2, if you ask anybody in your market center, it's there and it's available. But if you give me a second, I can, let me switch over here. Let me grab I share this anyway, so let me grab my link for this. and I'll put it in the chat for you. This is 2025's list. You guys can edit this yourself. It's a view only. Make a copy of it. You'll be able to edit it, and you're just going to shift the dates. The letters aren't going to change in any way, shape, or form. The only thing that's going to change on this is going to be the dates. So you can go in for 2026 and just shift down a day or 2 days if it's a leap year. So this list is already out. Oh, I actually have it in the slide deck. Hold on. I forgot. I actually went ahead and put this in the slide deck, and I'll show it to you in a second because I pulled the 2026 from Steve online, so I can show it to you. So that's going to control your quarterlies. You're going to follow that DTD2 schedule. You guys have that in there. You can use it, edit it, ask your market center for an updated list. If your market center is not talking about it, you talk about it. So they're talking about it. Everybody normally is talking about it. You're also going to do 12 touches by email. So I think Andrew or Thomas mentioned the monthly neighborhood nurture. So you can do a monthly neighborhood nurture. If they are a more of a hot lead, I think I mentioned this last week, then you're going to do the bi-weekly neighborhood nurture. So now they're going to get that email twice a month. So keep in mind, the 19 to connect is just a baseline. It's not a end all be all. You can increase that. I wouldn't go below this. I would definitely increase it. So if I got some people that have given me some indications that they're going to or potentially could do business with me sooner than later, I might put them on the bi-weekly neighborhood nurture versus the monthly neighborhood nurture. Okay. 2 other touches are promotional direct mailers, calendars, printed marketing reports, etc. I'm not a huge person on data. Like, I mean, I am personally, I'm just not huge on giving it to people. I feel that more often than not, people are relationship based. They'd rather have something a bit more intimate or personalized. So the birthday card or the, I don't know, you saw something on Facebook with the new job or the new baby or whatever it may be, drop a card in the mail to them, right? Get a little bit more personal about it. There's nothing wrong with sending the, hey, here's what happened in the neighborhood. There's also nothing wrong with sending out the hey, I'm hosting an open house this weekend at this location. Now that would more be by email. Again, that'd be an additional touch by email, which, why wouldn't we do that? You should be sending everybody in your database an email about the open houses you're hosting and about the listings you have. And if you have a buyer and you're having a hard time finding a house, you should be contacting your database as well, particularly if they live in an area that your buyer is looking at. Why is that important? What's our purpose or our goal in when we're doing that?
Isn't it just being personable?
The touch.
Yeah.
Right?
Stop.
Here's the thing. It's about, they know people that you don't know, and somebody they know might be looking to sell their house and they just don't know it yet. Is there anybody in your neighborhood? I got a client dying to be in your area, right? You can make it a big area. It doesn't be that exact neighborhood. Social media, going back to social media, I came up with an idea door knocking around a listing that John and I had, and we door knocked all our listings. And I think we did like 100 doors that day. And I got to, I don't know, 5th to last. I think I had 5, maybe 6 left. And I was having a really nice conversation with the lady, and nobody really wants these flyers. We're not asking for business. Like, hey, your neighbor's selling their house. Who do you know? And I had this brilliant idea, and you guys can run with this completely. You don't have to door knock to do it. You can just send it to your database, right? Post on Facebook that you have a new listing. You're running an open house. I don't care what it is. Then direct message or text or call and say, hey, Brian, it's Matt. I got an open house that I'm hosting this weekend over at such and such. And I know you're familiar with that area. You probably know a lot of people over there. Could you go to my Facebook page, grab that post and share it on your page for me? I just want to get as many people through the door as I can to help the seller out. Would that be okay? And Brian, he's already nodding yes before I even got done. Asking to share your post. Just because you put it online doesn't mean someone's going to share it. How many times you see something somebody post and like, oh, that's kind of cool. And what do you do with it?
I share it.
You share it. Okay, you're an exception to the rule. Most of us scroll past it or at least hit the like, right? Maybe make a comment. Oh, this is nifty or whatever, right? We're not going out and we're sharing. So think about it like this. Does everybody do the what is it, Small Business Saturday, where you shop at a small business around the holidays, support local businesses? Right? You guys like supporting local businesses?
Yes.
Restaurants know me all too well. They know I support them. Here's the thing. Who's supporting you as a local business and a local small business? You own your own business. You are a small business in your area. How do you get them to support you? Ask them to share those posts. Let them know something's coming up. They know somebody. Suggest to them, you know, hey, Andrew, you know anybody at work that might want to live in this area over here? I know you work, you know, there, but anybody want to move closer to their job or further away from their job? Like, there's just different things we can do with that conversation. So that's why I say these 19 to connect, they're not limited to this. When something's going on, share and find different ways to share. All right. And then on our 19 Connect, we want to do at least one annual event. This is going to be up to you and your level of business and your financial commitment or your financial abilities. What I will tell you is it doesn't have to cost you a dime. Do you believe me? It's okay if you don't. But it doesn't have to cost you a dime. Why doesn't it have to cost you a dime?
Because Facebook is free, right? Like,
Well,
is that why?
nope. Well, yeah, you can promote it on Facebook, but
Yeah.
if you're hosting an event, what kind of event are you doing? You doing a movie night someplace in a park? You doing a food truck for the neighborhood? It's summertime. Who's
Or
who's
you
gonna
could
bring
do
in
like I have a birthday coming up, right? And
Okay.
these people don't even know what they're running into when they come. It's not just a birthday celebration, but I'm like, hey, I'm a realtor now. You know, like I just posted on Facebook, but it's actually gonna be a realtor party. So
Okay.
I'm talking all things real estate, you know, sharing the
So
knowledge that I've learned.
let me get this right. You're throwing yourself a birthday party
Yeah,
to invite everybody to blindside them with real estate.
basically.
All right, cool. I like it. Hey,
Okay.
a guerrilla warfare, right? You got to do something.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about events. I've never thought about doing that, throwing myself a birthday party and inviting everybody to it, and then just kind of make it about real estate. I don't know what that would look like, where it would be manageable and acceptable. I believe it's possible. I just never thought about it. So I think that's a great idea to keep in mind. What I'm talking about is doing the annual events of having a movie night in the park, or bringing the ice cream truck into the neighborhood, or fall cleanup or spring cleanup, and partnering with a dumpster company to come out and put a dumpster in the neighborhood for a Saturday so everybody can come get rid of their junk that they've accumulated over the years. When I say it doesn't have to cost you, it's because of the word I used a minute ago. Partners. Who else in our industry needs business?
Lenders, inspectors, attorneys, all those people.
That's it. So who are the people that we work with on a regular basis who typically have more money, bigger budgets, particularly our lenders, the attorneys, and the title offices? Find out what it would cost to get a food truck for a day for 2 or 3 hours for ice cream or whatever it is. Throw a block party, even if it's in your own neighborhood, and get your vendors to help pay for it. If it's going to cost you $1,500 to do it, and you get 3 vendors chip in $500 a piece, which typically that's not a lot of money for them to do. Boom. Now you just got the event. You've got what you need for the event. And yes, now you can do Facebook. You're going to do your phone calls. You're going to do whatever the case may be. Okay. So it doesn't have to cost you to do these events. I know I get a lot of newer agents who are like, well, I don't have a lot of money to do an event. Okay. Keep it small. Keep it realistic. Partner with your people. Get them to help cover the cost. Right. So keep that in mind. So here's that DTD2 for 2026. Again, if you note, it's the exact same thing. So here is this time next year. Next year it would be the week of the 20th instead of the 14th. DO and P, same exact thing, just change the dates. You can do this yourself by editing the dates. Your market center should be putting this out. I'm going to steal Steve's, and it's about that time of year for me to put it out for my market centers, so I'll do that as well. Let me get in my chat real quick, because there's something I did a little bit ago inside of this that I wanted to touch on. Power flashed earlier. I hope I didn't lose something when it did that. That'll make me sad, because I had some really good stuff in here for you guys. I'm not seeing it right now. All right, I think I remember some of it though. I didn't get a chance to put it into a Google Doc, and I was going to share with you guys, because I went through these questions on this page, and I actually had ChatGPT formulate some prompts and some thought processes around each one of these questions when you're doing your lead follow-up, because we don't want to limit what we're doing. So what I mean by that is, in your lead follow-up, these are just considerations for your lead follow-up program. So what are you going to do? We talked about this last week when I launched last Monday, right? Strengths and weaknesses. So what are your strengths with people? And keep in mind, what are your weaknesses? So what are the things I need to leverage out? And what am I really good at? Are you empathetic? Are you a connector? Are you social? Like, what are your strengths? I'm really upset about this. Got some really good prompts that this thing created too, to where you can go into AI and say, help me figure out who I am. Don't be afraid to go in AI and ask it. Ask, I don't care if you're using Claude or Gemini or Chat or whatever you're using, get in a conversation with it and ask deep questions. Have it ask you deep questions to find out where your strengths truly are. If you're not 100% sure, you're also going to identify your weaknesses at that point. Then figure out how that applies to your 19 to connect. What is my best feature that I can put forward in my 19 to connect to help me build better relationships? What are some reasons I might have for contacting a lead? This is probably one of the biggest obstacles or roadblocks agents face. And what I mean by that is we allow that thought, why am I reaching out to them? What's my purpose? Well, I don't want to be weird about it. I don't really have a reason to call them. Well, if it's a lead, you do. And that reason is, where did you capture the lead? Was it at an event? Was it at an open house? You're still following up from that. And hopefully, if you've had contact with them, now you're following up from that. So this gets into making sure that you're recording your activities and tracking what you're doing and the results you're getting and the conversations you're having. So if you get a response from a text message or a DM, or they answer the phone, make notes about it. It makes the next phone call or the next touch easier, because you can reference something from the last phone call. Make sense? We good on that? A couple head nods. Not sure. Okay. What are some touches to do before and after a phone call? This is one that people kind of forget. What can you do before and after a phone call that makes that touch, that could make that touch better?
Follow up with the text.
Follow with text. What else? What about before the phone call?
Like an introduction, like introducing yourself? Is that
An intro text.
okay?
Yeah,
Follow
or
with an email and provide value. Check your previous notes before the calling. Yep. Send confirmation text or email. Those are really good. right? If you
It-
schedule a time, let's say you send a text message and like, hey, what's a good time for us to talk? I'd love to get some feedback on the open house. And they're like, well, I can talk at like 3:00. Well, around 2:30, you can always text and say, hey, I'm looking forward to chatting with you at 3:00. I appreciate you making the time for it. Now there are pros and cons. There's psychological aspects to that. If you confirm the phone call, you're giving them what? You could be giving them what?
Chance
Opportunity to
maybe
cancel. There it is.
to cancel. Yeah.
Yep, there it is. That's what I'm looking for. So some people will appreciate, and you could always ask, hey, do you want me to just confirm that with you before I call? Someone like, nah, just call me. Or you might even be able to tell just based on, how they tell you to call. So you have to learn what that looks like, and the wording you're using to do that confirmation could lead them to say, hey, forget it, I don't have time now. I'd probably just call. Like we said, we're going to call, I'm going to call. And if they don't answer the phone, leave them a voicemail, follow with a text message. Another trick with that is make the phone call. They don't answer, wait 5 minutes and call back. They still don't answer, then definitely follow with the text message. The warm intro. So let's say it's the open house. And remember, we talked about making phone call versus text. You could just do a quick text of, hey, this is Matt. We just met at 123 Main Street. Really appreciate you guys coming in here. I'm going to give you a call in about, he said, okay, I'm going to give you a call in about 15 minutes. I want to get some feedback from you, some additional feedback, or I have additional questions. Again, depending on how that interaction was in the open house or the event or wherever you met them, figure out a way to say, hey, are you open to a quick call? I'd like to ask you a couple questions about the property, and then when they go, yeah, sure. I just set an appointment. I got a listing appointment tomorrow that I set with a lead that came in. And I said, hey, what's a good time to call you? He's like, you can call me now. And then I called him and spent like 40 minutes on the phone or something, like 30 to 40 minutes on the phone. And I was like, let me just come and look at the house. He goes, all right, I'm available at 3 on Thursday. I went 3:00. All right, done deal. Let's do that. All right. So getting those intros and outros are important as well. How am I using conversations to let the person know I'm in real estate? This leads more back to maybe not necessarily the leads, but your database. So how are you letting them know that you're in real estate? What is your transition? Some of you are brand new and like, Matt, I don't even know what you're talking about right now. And that's okay. You're going to learn it. This is basically somebody that it could be a brand new person you met. It could be somebody in your database that you're talking to and making the announcement, like at the birthday party, that says, hey, I'm in real estate and I need y'all to do something for me. But what are we doing? How are we using our conversations to tell people we're in real estate, how they can contact you, and how they can refer you business? Who's done any of that or has an idea around that?
I was thinking maybe, I haven't done it yet, obviously, but I was thinking maybe like speaking to people that about maybe sparking a conversation about homes or their home or something like that. Like
Okay.
that's an idea.
All right. Who else got? I see social media's in here. What else we got?
I saw a friend who's a real estate agent at a different brokerage, but they hosting a lemonade stand every quarter in their neighborhood to have conversations with their kids. So they sit with the kids when they say lemonade and they having conversations and it works for them.
So that's the way to get the conversation going. How do you make the transition and switch that conversation to be able to bring up real estate? Now, for a lemonade stand, it could be, again, like a food truck. Get yourself a sign that says, this is provided by Matt Verdon, Keller Williams Realty Center. Like you can do the marketing around that. And when you market the event, you're going to market it. Yet if I'm just, let's say we're out at the bar, we're out at the restaurant, whatever the case may be, and I get in a conversation with somebody that seems like a good person, might be somebody I might want to do business with. I don't know yet. I don't know them well enough yet. How could I move my conversation in to let them know that I'm in real estate?
You can ask, hey, what do you do for work? And they're gonna say blah blah blah. And then you'll be like, oh, guess what? I'm in real estate.
Right? You
Something
guys
like that.
heard of the Ford conversation? Ford. See,
Yes.
Thomas. Right?
Yesterday, Seth was talking about frog, which is pretty much the same thing, just different.
Yeah. There's a couple acronyms out there. I kind of stick with the Ford, but I encourage you to go figure out what works for you. For those that don't know what it is, it's family, occupation, recreation, and dream. So it's first about asking about their family. How's the family doing? Okay. How's life? Right. Depending on what time of the year, it's summertime right now, right? Across the country. Well, what are you guys doing for summer? Kids are out of school. Yeah. You got vacation planned. What's their recreations? Maybe you already know. Maybe they're a golf player. Maybe they're a pickleball player. I don't know. Maybe they're a gym rat. Ask them about that. That's their recreation in a lot of ways, right? The dream part is just more about where are they going? Like, what plans do they have? What do you see yourself in 5 years concept? You don't want to make it salesy and creepy. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Just like, so what plans you got for the rest of the year? You know, what's the future of your job look like, or whatever the case may be. The occupation part is the biggest part. It is a natural thing we do that if I were to ask, hey, Thomas, how's work? Right? I know what you do. I know you're whatever. And I go, how's your job? How's work? We are inclined to reciprocate and say, well, how are things going with you? Well, you know, this real estate market is a little crazy right now. Oh, that's right. I forgot you're in real estate. Or, oh, yeah, we were talking about it the other day about possibly we might want to sell the house and move down south or whatever the case may be. And you're like, ding, 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 ding. I now have something. Actually, I'm planning on throwing a lunch party in the beginning of September, providing some resources for first-time home buyers and a raffle to provide donations to community nonprofit. I love it. On a daily basis, just spark a conversation and be curious about people and their lives. So short of you not being on camera, I strike you and not speaking. You strike me as a outgoing person based on those words. Where are my introverts? I know you're the ones with the cameras off and I can't see you. But if you're an introvert, what are you guys doing? Remember, going back to the strengths and weaknesses. If you're not the one that's outgoing and eager to strike up the conversations and, you know, have that personality, whatever you want to call it, what are you guys doing? How are you managing to have these conversations and get in front of people? You need to think about it. Strengths, weaknesses. Okay. All right. When is it best for me and my business to time block for lead follow-up? You're going to get a lot of different answers in this one. I don't want to say different, but the rain must be, see this, I got to get this new camera. It's because when the power went out, my other light went out, the one that actually helps me keep it focused. Now I got to fix it. There we go. You need a time block. You're going to get a couple different variations of what people are going to tell you to do with this. Never not do it. And it should not be based on your mood. So you need a time block for it. The number one thing I'm going to tell you to do is you need a time block for your lead generation and your lead follow-up. One of the things you're going to hear a lot about is that you should time block for 3 hours in the morning to do lead generation. For those of you that are dual career, that's probably not a practical and logical thing that you're going to be able to do. If you're in this business full time, it could be. Do you need to do that? Absolutely not. You can break it down during the day. You could do an hour in the morning, an hour midday, and an hour in the evening. You could do, and it doesn't have to be 3, it could be 1, it could be 2. Just make sure you're doing it on a daily basis. Now, as far as it not being based on your mood or your energy, this is where I kind of disagree. You know when you're at your best. Some of us get up in the morning and I'm ready to go. Some of you got to get up and have the coffee and some breakfast and hit the gym or whatever the case may be until you bring yourself to that peak point. whatever your peak point is that you are functioning at your highest, that's when you do your lead follow-up and your lead generation. And it should be the same time every day. Part of the reason is it'll keep you in your routine of, oh, this has been working. I need to make sure I keep this other morning routine. So it could be 9 o'clock in the morning, it could be 11 o'clock, it could be 1 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever that time that fits, particularly for dual career, whatever fits your schedule, you just need to hold that time block and never, ever, ever give it up. Because if you give it up, then you're missing out on business. Here's the perfect example I can give you with that. The absolute best example that so many agents do. My lead generation, let's say, is from 9 to 10. Or you're a dual career agent, your lead generation, let's say, is going to be from 5 to 6 in the evening or 6 to 7 in the evening. And you even have a client or two you're working with. Okay. So I call up and I say, hey, Erica, I want to go see this house tonight at 6 o'clock. Now, Erica knows at 6 o'clock, that's her lead gen time. What does Erica do? Show the house or keep her lead gen time?
I would show the house.
Okay. Erica's showing the house. What do you guys say? Show the house, keep your lead gen time.
I think maybe keep to that schedule you have and
Keep
ask
the
if they
routine.
Go ahead, finish up.
and just if they could just reschedule maybe around you a little bit, because you're gonna have a lot of interruptions, I think, during the day. So if you can keep yourself to a schedule and have everybody else kind of work around to your schedule, it's your business. So you can tell them, like, and ask them, kindly, hey, I can't do it this time, but maybe I could do it a little bit. How about this time works? And usually customers are nice about it. So they're like, oh yeah, whatever. But that's just my thought.
So this, and you're going down the path where I was hoping everyone was going to go. You're going to want to keep that lead gen time and keep your time period. Okay. We already know there's a birthday party coming up. I don't think Louise is going to show anybody anything during her birthday party. Okay. Let's just be honest. All right. By the way, am I getting an invite? Because I might have to come out to it. It sounds like it might be a good time. The consumer doesn't know your schedule. This is something that I'm big about when it comes to time blocking. If I have lunch plans with a friend, I might even just be meeting a lender, for goodness sakes, to talk about new products or whatever the case may be. And if someone calls me up and says, hey, I want to go check out this house at this time, I can just simply go, I'd love to do that, but I have another appointment at that time. They can't get upset about that. Because stop and think about it. If you were the one I had the appointment with and I canceled on you to go to another appointment, how would you feel? This applies to your personal life, your friends, your family, your significant others. You cancel on them to go do this. How are you making them feel? Who's the priority here? This person's going to be here. We have to have boundaries, and we can't get out of our routine. Here's the other reason why you don't want to get out of your routine. If you focus on that person who wants to go see that house, you ignored the next piece of business. What so many agents do is they get focused on the client they have. They forget to do the lead generation and the lead follow-up. And when that transaction closes, guess what they got in the pipeline? Oh. Nothing, because they didn't keep with the follow-up. So keep with the follow-up regardless of what somebody wants. Now, there will be times that you will cancel that. You may have a client that it's like their time is super limited. They're already giving you a challenge. Maybe they got a particular need because if it's a particular home and you got to act quickly. Maybe it's a neighborhood where the houses aren't they're not sticking around long. It's a really hot neighborhood. Those situations that you may have to go, all right, I got to give up my lead gen right now and go do this because this situation calls for it. Just throwing that lead gen away just to go show the house because it may be a piece of business. One of those phone calls you made could have been a better piece of business. Or at least it was your next piece of business. And if you didn't call them at that time, you could have missed out on an opportunity. So, Erica, thanks for that. Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to do it that way as well. How much time should it take to reach out to a lead? What will I do to hold myself accountable? So you guys already have in the emails we've sent out, you've got the tracking spreadsheet that I've given out. You also have the activity tracker inside of Command to track what you're doing and how much effort you're putting into this. How much time should it take to reach out to leads? Each touch, if you're following leads only, we're not actually talking about your database, just leads, people that we're trying to convert into a contact, that should only be about 3 to 5 minutes. So if you're going to call 10 people, you're going to spend about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour calling 10 people. Here's the thing. How many are going to actually answer the phone? You could call 50 people in an hour and talk to 3. It's just a numbers game. You just can't stop calling. So you're going to call, you're going to set aside an hour, and you're going to make as many phone calls and text messages as you have available to make at that point until you're out of the leads that you need to follow up with. Or if you're somebody who's got like 40 leads because you did like 2 or 3 open houses over the weekend, then you might just do some here, later in the day, do them here and here, but you want to get through all of them each day that you're going to do your follow-ups, if possible. If not, recruit somebody to help you out with the follow-ups, okay? But 30 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour, 3 to 5 minutes per phone call. They don't answer the phone, wait 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes, call back. They still don't answer, send them a text message, move on to the next one, right? If you're working off of your computer, like most agents are going to do, and your phone is connected, I have an iPad, so I literally could be calling somebody else while I'm texting somebody from my iPad, and I can just like do it all at the same time. So how soon after an open house would you contact the potential lead for the first time? That day, probably within the hour of the open house being over. Because here's the thing, where else are they going? What else are they doing? Other open houses. And guess who they're going to choose as their agent? The one that they actually liked. Your best bet and your best odds of success are going to be the relationship and the connection you build while they're in the home. Your next is going to be the first one to follow up with them. So the sooner you can follow up after the open house and say, hey, how's it going? You know, then that'd be a great follow-up too, right? Because in the open house, you're probably already asking, how many houses are you looking at today? And they're going, oh, we got 2 more we're going to look at. You can go, all right, great. You could even preface that right then and there. Hey, I'd love to give you a call after I'm done here just to see how your day went. I'd like to know how the other houses you look at compared to this one. Now, I'm not asking for business. I want to hear more feedback. Now that you've been in this one and you went and saw the others, and maybe you saw 2 or 3 before me, how many did you see before you got here? Oh, we only saw 1 before this. How does this one compare to the one you saw? Right? What we say is more important than how we say it. Or how we say it's more important than what we say. Scratch that. Reverse that. I feel like Willy Wonka. How we say it's more important than what we say. So when they show up and I'm like, hey, how many homes have you seen already today? Oh, we've only been to 1 other house. Well, based on what you saw at that house and this house, how do they compare? And get feedback right off the bat like that. Let me ask you another question real quick. If you had to buy one of these 2 houses, the one you already saw and this one, which one would you lean towards? Oh, I'd lean towards this one. Okay, cool. I'm not asking you to buy it. I'm just curious where I rank on what you've seen. How many other houses are you going to go see? Well, we got like 3 more we're going to go see. Great. Can I call you later and ask you those same questions? Because I just want to know when I tell my seller about experience-wise, what it was that, well, you weren't interested, or maybe you realize you are interested and you didn't know it. I don't know if you want to say that part. You'll probably get somebody to go, yeah, I guess that's okay. Or just reference, hey, I'm gonna reach out later and check and see how the rest of your open houses went. And I want to hear how those houses compare to this house as well. Be glad this is recorded because I just made that whole conversation up right here on the spot, which is normally how I do it. So don't ask me to repeat it because it will not come out the same way. Just letting you all know. I haven't warned you all about that. When I get in role play mode, stuff just comes out. Design your 19 to connect. Again, this is a model. You can do whatever you want to do in your 19 connect. This is where I would encourage you to use the AI, ChatGPT, and things like that. Plug this into it and go, here's what I've been taught about a 19 to connect plan, and go deep in your prompting and ask based on it being 2025, today's buyer and seller psychology, today's real estate market, real estate industry, however you want to word it, interest rates, and so on. How can I connect with these people? What are some activities I can do outside of this, including this? How can I make those emails important? Like ask the AI to help you out and build it out and build out your 19 to connect. Have it help you write the emails, help it write your talk tracks with everybody. All right. Make an impact. We talked last Monday when we launched this about value proposition and mission statements. Make sure you're putting your value proposition in everything you do. Personal communications, like I said, stats and data. Yes, there are people that want it. I'd probably ask, like, what's more important to you? Do you really want all these stats and data? And how often do you want it? Find out where they are to know if what I'm sending them is drawing them in or pushing them away. Right? Lead follow-up communications. Track your lead sources. So potential lead sources, obviously call-ins, open houses, and other things like that. It's important for you to understand where your leads are coming from so that you can double down on the ones that are working. Because there's going to be things we do and activities that we have that we're not going to get as much ROI or return on our investment as we would from other things. So you want to be doing several things, not a lot, no more than 5. You really want to keep it to about 3 lead generation activities outside of your touch campaigns and see what's working. Matter of fact, back in the back of this, we talked about newsletters, in the email aspect, send out newsletters, call and ask. It's another reason to call. Just call them up and just be like, hey, Felicia, I've been sending out my newsletter. I just wanted to check in and, do you like it? Is it worth it? Give me some feedback. I trust you, right? Call the people you already know and you have a relationship with and see how they feel about what you're sending out. Then make adjustments once you get that feedback back. So that's part of the personal communications in that. Questions you can ask. These are standard. You can go deeper. I wish my chat didn't mess up because I had some really good stuff around this as well. But questions that you can ask, why are you thinking about buying or selling? Tell me more about that. I didn't share this last week when I was with you guys, and I typically always do at some point. Keep in mind, we're experiencing this right now. I'm doing more of the talking than you guys are. Now, granted, I'm the presenter. I want as much feedback. In a conversation with a potential buyer and seller, you absolutely do not want to be the one doing all the talking. Why do you think that is?
So you can get more information about what's going on with them.
I can't learn if I'm the one doing all the talking. That's exactly it. And my talking should be in what format? Question-based. Everything needs to be question-based. And don't stop at one question. Why are you thinking about buying and selling? Or why are you thinking about buying? I'm tired of renting. What makes you tired about renting? What is about the renting part that's bothering you? I'm wasting my money. Well, let's talk about that. Are you? Let's talk about what the market looks like right now. What perks do you get in renting? What perks are you going to have in buying? Go deeper with the questions. We call it going 3 layers deep. I would tell you to go 5 or 6 layers deep. Whatever anybody gives you as an answer is never going to be the truth. If I ask one question and I get one answer, I'm not going to have the full picture. Whatever answer they give me, I'm going to ask a question from that answer. And then I'm going to ask another question from the answer until I can dig deep enough to find out what's going on. And you can do this with your lead generation. You can do this with lead follow-up. You can do it with your database. You can do it with any number of those processes in that. All right. Questions, comments, open-ended question, curiosity, and empathy. That works too, Ashley. What, when, where, why, and how. I want to know is everything I can know. So questions, comments, thoughts, feedback. How are we feeling? Are we still awake?
I really like the idea of asking AI to let you know about your strengths and weaknesses. In the meantime, when you were talking, last week when you said make AI learn about you, like ask I did all of this. It took me like an hour, but it really like dig
Did you
deeper.
cry?
it was kind of very interesting and also like, wow, amazing. Like I didn't even know those things about myself, which was pretty cool. And then today when you said, oh, ask about strengths and weaknesses, I just put like based on my career in real estate and what you know about me do this. And oh my goodness, like I legit like it was like a light bulb going off. And I was like, oh my God, why didn't I think about this? This is awesome.
I don't know if I said this. Thank you for sharing, Thomas. And I don't know if I said this last week or not. It's the best therapy you're ever going to get, and it only costs you $20 a month. Cancel the insurance. Don't need it anymore. It's the best therapy I'm going to get because it takes the emotion out of it, right? We're too emotional, right? And we need to keep those emotions between the line. That's a bold law. Keep your emotions between the lines. And one of the best ways to do that is to get into, look, I love ChatGPT. Look, I live it. Like literally, I'm mad at it right now because I don't know what happened to the conversation I had. I was really working something and now I'm just not seeing, and I loved everything I had. I can probably recreate it for the most part. But I love getting into it and asking those questions. I did it one day before I erased everything out of it and was like, based on everything that you've learned with me working with you, tell me about myself. And then I said, now ask me questions that I wouldn't even think of. Like I asked it to go through a whole thing and I got these questions and I just went through and I just started talking to it. And by the way, when I say talk to it, I use the voice mode and I just have a conversation with it in conversation mode. And I would just, well, actually I used the dictate and I actually dictated it to it and then I sent it in because conversation mode and actual typing, dictating works different. But I did that and the responses I got back, I was just like that. I didn't need you to tell me that. I knew that. Not happy about it, but I did know it already. So now I got to live with it because you reminded me of it or something. So get in there and figure out what that looks like. Help you with your strengths, your weaknesses, and everything. And it's going to help you with follow-ups. One of the things I got, I do remember this from my conversation with Chat before I got on with you guys, was taking that 19 to connect. How can you take that and personalize it more? So that's why I said, ask, like, am I an empathetic person? Am I just like, who am I as a person? Now, how can I use that to connect with people? I think I mentioned it last week also about using it to identify your perfect clientele. So now, Thomas, now that it knows you, you could go in right now and say, okay, based on everything you've learned thus far, as a real estate agent, identify my perfect buyer and seller.
Yep, I already did that.
Okay. What'd you get? Just out of curiosity.
It got me first-time home buyers and also growing families. And identified that I should work with like single parents, younger couples, because of my approach, creativity, empathy, and all that stuff. So it was kind of cool because if somebody's looking to find their niche of like what they want to do, like that can really help you. And also like wrote like a personalized introduction of like a bio for social media and stuff like that, which was like pretty cool.
All right, but it's why I go over the next part because you'll be able to, I think, multitask here. Now I want you to ask it two other questions. One, what kind of jobs do these people have? You identified the type of person. What kind of industries do I find these people? What kind of jobs do these people have? And then ask it after it does that, where do I find these people outside of their job? Meaning, what are their extracurricular activities that these personality types and these industry types typically have? You're going to get a whole lot more information because now you just found out where you can lead generate. And you might be able to go join, I don't know, a softball league or something like that, where you're going to find like-minded people because it's important for us to be around like-minded people. So post-lead follow-up. This is kind of what you guys asked a minute ago, but when should I do it? So our lead is when two-way communication is established, they become an actual contact. So again, a lead is that one-way conversation. The contact is we're having a two-way conversation. I've got permission to have conversation with them. Now, when I say permission to have conversation, this is the part I'm going to go back to TCPA and the do not call. One of the things that you need to comply with TCPA is having consent. Like I said, the little checkbox and all that stuff like that. I would recommend getting with an attorney in your area and asking for help in developing an actual communications to consent agreement. I wouldn't call it an addendum, because an addendum can expire. You want an agreement that when you first meet with somebody in person, there is language on there that is compliant to do not call, and they get to write in their name, their phone number, their email, their address, and then they sign it. And then you get that. That is probably the most elite aspect you can do for compliance with do not call. Doesn't mean you're still not going to get somebody to complain about you potentially down the road. Yet this is going to be better for you to get out of trouble if somebody did. So this is where I was going to bring that up. So consent for everything. Once you connect with them, you're going to move them to a 36 touch with a 36 to convert. You're going to get more into that 36 touch plan next week with strengthened relationships. In short, the 36 to convert or 36 touch, that's your forever live long. You're touching these people until they just tell you to leave me alone. Okay. The biggest one in here is cementing the relationship. This means that I've captured the lead. They're in my database. I'm working them, and they're kind of between the lead and the contacts. They're starting to get into the contacts. So now I've got to cement them. And cementing them is sending that one high value piece of information. Back to the chat. Yes, this could just be data if that's what they want. The more you can learn about them, the more personal you can make it. That's really going to lock you in on what that is and what that looks like. I'm going to be doing a class Friday on Facebook. There's a 30-minute thing, or it's on Zoom, but it's from one of our Facebook groups that I'm part of. And I'm going to be touching on songs. So using AI to describe something, generate a song lyrics for it, dropping it in Suno, which is a song generator, to create a song. And you can use this for darn near everything. One of the top things right now that I do have I don't, but I know the person that does have success with it. I'm gonna say less than 30 days ago, they created a song for a particular neighborhood. Now, this person they live in the neighborhood and they already have a foothold in the neighborhood. They're very famous in that area. They made a song for it, and the local paper or something like that ran with it. And he actually had a speaking engagement this past Monday, and his wife actually got 2 listings out of it, all because of a song that he made for the neighborhood. So that personal, high value personal touch, what is it? It could have something to do with technology. It literally could just be data. Here's the stats. Here's what's going on in your neighborhood. It could be any of those things. You have to determine what that high value piece is that solidifies that relationship based on that individual. And the more that we can learn about them, the more we can know about them, the better that high value touch is going to be. Questions, comments, pain, sorrow, joy, tears, any of the above? Or we just want to hear what ChatGPT said to Thomas about his perfect clientele real quick? Did you get anything good?
It came back with like my perfect so it would be nurses, teachers, admins, and to find them, that would be coffee shops, gyms, Facebook groups, and what to offer to them is educational focused home buying tips. Then you have millennials in tech and finance, Instagram, YouTube, brewery events, low pressure Q&A, stuff like that. Then dog moms and plant duds, dog parks, Instagram, home goods, pet friendly pics and garden ready listings. That's what you offer them. And then couples starting families. Usually you'll find them at open houses, preschool drop-offs next door, and they want to know more about neighborhood breakdowns and family perks. So it's pretty cool.
There you go.
But
What do you
there's
guys
more.
think?
That's like just the table
Overview. I got
and
you.
that dives
I
in.
got you. I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, I think you could do that. It's in the middle of the day on Friday, or it's early in the morning. It's like 10 o'clock Eastern time. So I don't know what that's going to affect you guys for that. Amanda's talking about the Facebook thing I'm doing. So it's going to be, Amanda, where are you at? It's going to be really early for you, I guess. Central. All right, so an hour back. Yeah, let me see if I can find that link. While I do this, and you guys, any questions you guys have, any thoughts besides the one I just got? If you guys would do a quick survey for the first session, I'm going to jump into the second one. The second one's short. It's kind of just a little bit of a continuation, but if you guys would jump in and do this one while I grab this link real quick. She has this link at. Oh, no, there it is. We put it out there. There you go. Could be it. Oh, you already got it. Look at you moving off fast on me, beating me to the punch. All right. Any other comments, questions, thoughts, concerns? Hearing none, we will be moving on once I hit send on this, just to get it in there one more time. Switch over to my other slide deck. All right. Here we go. All right, so now it's all about keeping every one of those leads and in all of this. I've kind of mentioned this, I just said it a little bit different. The effort you give to converting leads must match the effort you give to generating them. So it's not going to do you a lot of good to have a very high conversion rate if you're not going out and getting more leads. And it's not going to do you any good to collect a bunch of leads and not know how to convert. So you need to have matching energy when you're doing your lead generation and your lead conversion. We want that to, because that's where your business is going to come from, right? So lead conversion process, we've kind of, this is why this session's going to be a little bit quicker and we're going to have probably some just general conversation about stuff, but capture, connect, and earlier on I saw somebody put it's going to be session 10 in the drop down when you do it. All right, there you go for the class. Long-term game, yes, on leads. The bulk of your leads are going to be a long game. So you're going to spend probably more time capturing, connecting, and then they're going to go over to cultivate before they become an actual business. So this goes back to the other slide of the probable, the possible, and the profitable business. Not everybody you capture is going to go in this 1, 2, 3 order. The better you get in the immediate follow-up, such as, like I said, that 8x8 we talked about, as soon as you capture them, you're hitting them 8 times in 8 days, you're going to convert them faster. Also depends on the event. Obviously, an open house, the odds of them being more now they want to do something, or at least sooner than later, is higher because they're out looking. You still get your tire kickers. You still get the people that just love going to open houses and they're going to do it no matter what. Most of them are actually looking to do something in the near future. Other lead generation aspects that you may do, whether it's through social media ads, whether it's through neighborhood events, whatever it is you're going to do, those can be longer. So like I said, you're going to spend some more time in the capture to connect, to cultivate before they become a close. I'd probably say 80, 20% of what you do, you should be able to get to a close. The other 80% you're going to cultivate over a period of time, potentially. It kind of depends. So, practice makes perfect on this. So this is where you need to practice your talk tracks and make sure that you have the, know what you're going to say. Okay. So let me get to this one thing over here. Well, let me do this first, and then I'll get into the conversation part, because I do have a quote in here that I added. So capturing is defined as collecting the minimum amount of data, right? What is our minimum amount of data we want to capture with anybody at any time? We meet somebody and we're going to put them in our database. What's the minimum stuff we need to capture? Not a want, we need to capture in order to do anything with them. Name, phone, email. There you go. That's the absolute bare minimum. Name, phone number, and email. After that, it becomes the nurture process, getting their address, connecting on social media. You know, once you put them into your phone and other things, Meta's watching, right? We all know Zuck's watching everything. They're going to start getting suggested as friends. Maybe you friend request them, maybe you don't. That's going to be dependent upon how you met them and what that relationship was like in the beginning, potentially. So keep an eye on that. Be cautious with the social media follows and friendships as well. It could be standoffish. I know there's agents that are like, well, I don't become friends with them with social media until after I close a deal. If it's a long-term nurture, you might want to do it sooner, because it's just another way to be in front of them and talk to them. You're going to have to judge that based on what that relationship looks like when you are meeting them. So, all right. Anybody know who Phil M. Jones is? Ever hear of this guy before? If you have not heard of this guy before, he has a book. He has 2 books, technically. Hold on, let me grab them. All right. Hopefully my background doesn't mess this up. So his book is Exactly What to Say. Okay. This is the first book. I'm going to highly encourage you to get this book, Phil M. Jones, Exactly What to Say. This goes into and uses what he calls magic words and magic phrases in order to have better communications and better conversions. His other one is a smaller book. It's called Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents. Yes, you can just go do this one and call it a day. I'd be okay if you did this one. It's fine. This tells you more of the psychology. This is kind of a field guide, walks you through what you should have already learned in this one. Phil talks about in his stuff, and this is I did a training session with him, and in the workbook is where he wrote, I think it's in the first book, one of the 2 books, I think this quote's in there as well, but this is from one of the workbooks. The worst time to think about what you are saying is when you are saying it. So practicing what you're going to say and know what you're going to say before you're put in that situation. I'm a exception to the rule. My brain works way faster than my mouth does sometimes, and I can pretty much manage almost anything on the spot. Some of us can, some of us can't. Strengths and weaknesses. Know where you sit on that scale. Because if you're somebody who's like, I need to process that for a minute, then you need to do more practicing before you have the conversations. Because the last thing we want to do is be in a situation where I'm being asked a question and I don't know the answer. And it's okay not to have the answer. It's how we respond to not having the answer. So practice your talk tracks, get into your conversations, and practice the things that you want to say so that it actually helps you in your conversions. It's huge. Excuse me. It's huge for us to do that. Now, on a side note, I'm going to give you guys a little something because I remembered I wanted to do this. Let me move this up here and let me change my view on this real quick. If you go into ChatGPT, for example, you can do this in many of the platforms. I kind of not really worried about which one you do it in. It's okay with me. When you get in here, particularly in chat, we have these little icons right here in the box. And down here in the box, the microphone right here is to dictate. I don't type that much inside of chat anymore. I typically just turn this on, tell it what I want it to do, stop the dictation, it puts the words in there, and then I hit send and I hit go. This one right here is voice mode. So this is where I can get into a conversation. So when I'm talking about here, knowing what to say, okay, when the time is right to say it, this is where you can practice that at. So I can go right in here into this voice mode. Hey, chat, you want to do a little role play for real estate today?
Sure, I'm up for it. What kind of scenario are you thinking of for this real estate role play?
So you are somebody who visited an open house that I had, and I'm calling to follow up with you and see what you thought about the house and how it compares to all the other homes that you saw while you were out looking at open houses. I'm going to let you pick the persona. Like, are you standoffish? Are you not? Are you open to conversation? I'll let you pick that energy for that. How's that sound?
Got it. Let's go with someone who's friendly, but also a bit cautious and weighing their options. So you can start the call whenever you're ready, and I'll respond in character.
Okay, I could keep going with that, but you guys see my point. Thoughts on that? If you ain't got nothing to say all night long, I'm thinking you probably got something to say about that. I don't know. You tell me. It's absolutely insane. And you can teach it. Now, she did that well. You can change the voice if you don't want a male, you want male, female. You can put an accent on it. You can do it in whatever you want to do. I've done this a couple times, and that voice mode has gotten better and better over time. That was probably one of the best first initial interactions because I like that she said, "All right, how do you want to do it? What do you want to play?" Right? You might have to train yours to do it. Yet, if you really want to practice, one of the biggest things that we need to do is practice. And it's about practicing those talk tracks, those scripts, those conversations. One of the number one challenges that we have is getting agents to actually do it. That right there, there's no reason for you not to do it now. And as you saw, I can give it the persona that I want, and I can tell it what I want it to do, and it's going to act in that manner. So what are we doing? Going back to those other things that I mentioned earlier about how am I using my conversations? That's how it's going to go. Conversion framework. What's that conversion framework look like? If I were to need to contact you, what would that number be? So this is where those conversations, like I just showed you with chat, would be. She gave me somebody who's friendly, just a bit standoffish and weighing their options. How would I ask that personality type for a good phone number? Right now, that I was setting it up that I was already calling you, but let's say you walked into the open house and I'm trying to capture the information. Okay. What's that going to look like? If I found exactly what you're looking for, how would I contact you? This is just giving you some different ways to ask the questions, which, by the way, is what this book does. I'm going to tell you this. I get this out quite often. It's got a lot of highlights in it already. I got to go back and reteach chat about it, but I even use this inside of Chat GPT. It knows the book and it knows the content, so that when I'm asking it to create social media or emails or give me a talk track for a phone call or write me a text message to reach out to somebody, yes, it is on Audible, I believe. I think both of them are. I know the first one is the right. Now, when you go look for exactly what to say, again, there's two of them. There's the regular exactly what to say, your personal guide to mastering. Hold on, what does it say? Your personal guide to the mastery of magic words, and then there's the real estate one. Start with the first one because it gives you the psychology behind it, which I think is extremely helpful. I had a lot of agents that started with the second one, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know." Framing what we say. Remember I said earlier, it's about how we say it, not what we say. We can say almost anything. How we say it is what's going to do it. Why is how we say it so important?
Because you only have one impression.
Technically, you got one impression. You might be able to get another one if you're lucky. But because how we say it impacts how they feel. Everything we do is based on emotions. Each one of you here right now listening to this and engaging in this program, your emotions are in play. Your emotions are, this is great and I can do this. Your other emotion is, this is great and I don't have any clue how I'm going to get this done. Another emotion may be, I don't know how I feel about this and I don't know if it's going to help me at all. We're allowing our emotions to dictate what we see, what we feel, and what we do. The consumers that we're working with are the exact same way. So how we say things and how we present it to them is going to impact their emotions, and it's going to impact whether they move forward with us or not, and if they're going to remember us or not. Who said earlier when I said, well, you know, if you had somebody who was shy at the open house, would you call or text? And I was like, well, call, throw them off guard. They're going to remember you because you put them in that uncomfortable situation. It may be a bad memory. It may be a good memory. It may be a value, you know, hey, I like this person. They're pushy. I don't like this person. They're too pushy. You got to see how it's going to play out. But how we say things is going to impact how we connect with people. Right? Connection best practices. Embed your value proposition. Those of you that were here last week and started with me, what did we build last week? On Monday, we built a mission statement. I'll answer it for you. And then I sent you off on a homework to go build what? To support your mission statement. Value proposition. It's right there in the screen. Value proposition, right? Find ways to embed it. Again, the chat that I had earlier, and I wish it didn't go away, really covered. I dug deep into it, and it has some really good information about why it's important to put your value proposition in what you do and ways to bring it into what you're doing with your connections to help people convert. Here's your role play and practice. Get it out there. Get into chat. Get other agents. Use chat, then go use it on an agent before you use it on a client, right? Get feedback from multiple agents. Know the outcome you want from a conversation before starting it. This is a challenging one to say because you don't want to over exaggerate the outcome that you want. Because if you know the outcome and you're fixated on the outcome, you can muck up the middle and you won't get the outcome. Does that make sense? Because there's a difference. I tell people on a regular basis, and I actually just was playing with Canva the other day, and I was actually building a social graphic for this because I learned some new tricks in Canva. I don't take a lot from social media as far as like I keep it and I memorize and it's meaningful stuff, you know, like all the quotes and stuff. There's a few. I have one that's probably 5 years old at this point. I don't even remember how old it is. And I bring it up on a regular basis. And this is one of those times. If you're too engrossed in the outcome, you're going to miss something. It's okay to know where your outcome's going, but keep this in mind. We live in a world that we listen to respond rather than listen to understand. We listen to respond rather than listen to understand. What does that mean to you guys? What do you think of?
You're not listening to, trying to understand what it is that your client is telling you that that's what they want. Like you're not listening. You're just a script, and you already know what you're gonna say without even listening to the whole conversation of there's actually details in there that they're telling you. They're giving you hints of like what you need to follow up with on that part of your conversation.
There you go. That's it. And I saw in here, we're not putting thought into the other person's words. And remember to listen to the client before you respond, to speak, to take the information and incorporate it into the response that you're going to be giving. So yes to everything. And again, if you're too focused on the outcome, it could and typically does prevent you from hearing what that person's saying. Here's what I would tell you for knowing what your outcome is. My outcome in the listing appointment is to get the listing agreement signed. That's it. I want the listing agreement signed. What happens in the middle of that, I have to listen because I have to show them how I'm going to solve all their problems to get the trust to get them to sign a listing agreement. If you get too focused on sign, then you're going to lose credibility. You're going to lose trust. There's all kinds of factors that are going to play into that at that point. Okay. So don't get too far into knowing what the outcome is. Just know in general what you want that outcome to be. So there are 6 connection questions that you're going to ask. I kind of mentioned them earlier, you know, the who, what, when, where, why, and hows. So who are they? Who are they? Now, that's just not, hey, I'm Bob and Sue. That's like, who are they as a person? What's important to them? Okay. What do they want, or what do they need? What do they want to do? They want to buy or they want to sell? What do they need to do? Do they need to buy and do they need to sell? Is it the right time for them? I tell agents all the time, it is perfectly okay. And I encourage you to tell people from time to time, it may not be the right time for you to buy or sell, because it may not be. And let's talk about it. Let's get into your financials. Let's answer some questions and let's figure out if this is the best time for you to do it or not. Where do they want? Where do they want or need to do, or, man, I can't talk. Where do they want or need to do it? You can take that in where they want to go. Why do they want to be there? There's all kinds of different ways. This is the general connection questions you're going to ask. Again, these are short. You can get a little bit more direct, you know. Well, I want to move to Florida. Okay. Where in Florida? That's a pretty big state. I know the listening appointment I got tomorrow. He says I'm about Florida. And he said South Florida, I think he said. And I said, well, just keep on going. Go to the Keys. He goes, no, not that far. We're going to Kissimmee or something. I went, oh, okay. He goes, I don't want to get down too close down there where the hurricanes are. Okay, cool. Note it. I know that. So when I go to the appointment tomorrow, I can bring it back up, right? I can make reference to it. And my goal on that point is to keep him focused on where he wants to go, to let him know I'm going to get the house sold so he can get there, right? Why are they doing it? Kids are out of the house. They've been there since 1997. And he's retired. And, oh, yeah, he wants to do it in the next 30 to 60 days. So it's going to be a fast-paced situation. So this is a lead that I just got on Monday, I think it was. And I'm going to have the appointment tomorrow and hopefully get it signed tomorrow. That's my plan. That's my outcome I want. So that would be one of those fast: capture, connect, close. How do they plan on doing it? What's the plan behind it? What's their plan? What do they see as the plan, right? One of Phil Jones's magic words is, what's your experience? That's how it starts off. He doesn't give you the full thing. He just gives you the beginning part. So what's your experience? You know, what's your experience in the real estate market today? He already told me. He goes, I've never sold a home before. He bought this one at build from the builder in 1997 and has never moved. No other transactions. So he has zero idea what the industry is like and what it means to sell a house today. And for whatever reason, he's really obsessed with investors. So I got to work him through that tomorrow and get him over that so I can get the listing. But other than that, I already got all my who, what, where, whens, and whys on the phone. Tomorrow, I'm just going to go deeper, and then I'm going to show him how I'm going to solve all his problems, and I'm going to make life better for him. So how are you connecting? Again, you can use ChatGPT for this. Based on your strengths, based on your weaknesses, what are you doing, and how can you use those to connect with people? Your cultivate bucket, like I said before, you're going to have people that are going to go into connect straight to cultivate because they're long term. You're going to have people that are going to go straight from connect into a close, and it's going to be a transaction. Once you close, though, they got to go back into cultivate, rinse and repeat, going back to the life cycle. 7 years. I just closed with them. 7 to 10 years, I'm going to do another transaction with them because I'm going to be in touch with them every single month, and probably 2 or 3 times every month, either by phone, text, email, social media, inviting to an event, letting them know I got another listing, whatever the case may be. I'm going to be in touch with them on a regular basis. Again, you can't know or predict when they will come to a decision, but if you're reconnecting with them in a systematic way, and this is the important part, this is your systematic follow-up, whether it's a lead or your database management that you're doing it consistently and systematically is where the key comes in, because that life cycle, 7 to 10 years, as we saw, that's our goal to follow. Here's the funny thing, though. Sometimes those life cycles can change even faster. Meaning, COVID, I have one of my top teams in my office helped somebody move from DC out to Frederick. So it's from the city life out to a little bit more country. And I think it was less than a year later, they go, yeah, we don't like it. Sell it. We're moving back to DC. I got somebody I know in Arizona that he was doing door knocking activities, and he went to this door and knocked on the door, and they're like, we just moved in. And, hey, congratulations. He was back in that neighborhood. I think it was like 3 to 6 months later, and happened to knock on the door again. Remember, the guy was like long term. The guy went, Randy, I'm glad you're here. He goes, we need to sell. Life event. So even though they just moved in, guess what? They're ready to sell again already. So being in their constant contact is where that's going to go at. So getting to the close. So when you're asking for the appointment, which format do you think is most effective? I'm going to leave this up to you guys. If you're going to have communications, maybe you're already talking by text, maybe you're on the phone, maybe you're emailing somebody back and forth, maybe you're standing there talking to somebody. What process, what format out of those 4 is the best way to ask for the appointment?
In person or a phone call?
In person, phone call, face to face, voice to voice. Anybody say anything else? All of them. Yes, face to face, voice to voice works. My lead came in through a lead aggregate that I use. I text him. He told me I could call him right away. I was on the phone. I asked for the appointment and I closed the appointment. You're going to use whichever format that you're in when you're in the position to ask. So if I'm having a face-to-face conversation, I'm going to ask him face-to-face if it's the right time to ask him face-to-face. Maybe I just met him and I need some time to nurture him a little bit more. Another factor, and I can't remember if I did this in, let me switch this over so I can see better. I don't remember if I did this in chat or not. Yep, here it is. So I did put it in here, and this is what I wanted to touch on, because here's what I asked chat, matter of fact. So in session 11, I asked chat to talk to me about session 11 because it's got all the stuff in it. But then I asked it to take in consideration again. All right, it's 2025. The industry is a little crazy, interest rates, economy, political factors, and more. Also, taking into generational differences, boomers, Gen X, and so on, break this down even further. So I had chat break it down to macro conditions impacting all conversions in 2025, marketing events, generalization strategies for asking the appointment. Boomers, this would be asset rich, confident and direct, just ask for it. Gen Xers, skeptical, control oriented. Millennials, strained by affordability, research heavy, so they're going to be a little bit more less likely to say yes. Gen Xers, new to the market, digital natives, and cautious. So I asked it to give me those. Format, phone call. Boomers prefer, Gen X is acceptable, millennials less preferred, Gen Zs rarely answer. So taking into these factors here, these could lead to how you do it as well. Now, if I get a lead over the phone, I may or may not know the age aspect. I know this guy built in 97 and his kids are now grown out of the house. He's probably a Gen Xer. Most likely. Or possibly, very not likely, but he's more likely a Gen Xer. But he could be a late boomer, super late boomer, but he's more likely a young Gen Xer. So I'm going to work with him in that category. I can make a phone call. He's good. Texting's okay. Zoom is they're acceptable. We're acceptable to it now. In person, that's the best category. Like boomers and Gen X are best for communicating in the most part. It gets down into the newer stuff. You have problems. So sample adjustments, asking by scenario, downsizing boomers, move up buyers. I went and asked chats for some examples of what this looks like and what it would be. And here's what I got back. We have to take all of those things into consideration when we're thinking about it because they're factors. So all of them are right. They just might not be right for the right person all the time. So in the end, if they can meet and have a good enough reason to meet, they will meet. It's basically what I just did and what I just showed you. And if they don't, they won't. And that's okay. You really don't care what their answer ultimately is, because you're not getting people to do anything they don't want to do. You're just going to ask and respond until they agree that meeting with you makes sense, or it doesn't. Either way, both win. Because there's no reason for me to force the appointment if they really don't want it, because I'm probably going to waste my time in even having the conversation because they're not ready to make a decision. Versus somebody who says yes right away, like the one I have for tomorrow, that's where that's going to come into play at. So thoughts, ahas, takeaways, all the above. We pretty much covered all this in the other stuff. One more survey, if you guys don't mind. They like getting our surveys back. Since we technically did 2 sessions today, I'll give you another one. So while we are closing this out, we are coming up on our time. We got like 3 minutes left. Give me some ahas. Give me some takeaways. Tell me what you think, what you feel. See, Monica's in here. That makes sense. I do my best to make sense. Logic is key in life. So give me some takeaways, guys. You've been quiet tonight.
I'm going to incorporate Chat GPT. I thought that was really helpful. And I'm going to actually do a little playing around with it when I log off tonight. So thank you.
I'm telling you, it's where it's all at. Be mindful. I will tell you, be mindful. ChatGPT is a pleaser. So
Okay.
sometimes it will tell you that you're brilliant, you're on the right track, and you're not. You have to tell it ahead of time. There are settings in there, not to get into a chat class, but there are settings in there that you can tell it all the time, like, don't please me. It work only with
Okay.
facts and logic and all that, and it will stop that nonsense. So be mindful with it.
Okay.
Brian, script practice with ChatGPT. Yeah, it's pretty cool, ain't it? People don't know that. When I show people that, they're like, wait, what? I did it. I had a class that I taught AI. I got another one I'm working with locally with one of our producing or publications. I just met with them. I'll get my answer tomorrow if they're going to hire me for it. And I'm going to do a presentation here in the Baltimore area and out in Delaware. And I'm excited because one of the things I'm going to do in that room is this, because we all know script practicing or role playing is the least engaged thing. Even if you attend, like at Keller Williams, we have 2 script practice that go on. We have Script Jedi, which is an online thing in the morning. And then we have some MAPS coaches that are running, I forget the name of theirs, but there's 2. If you go look for them, you can find them and you just sign into the Zoom. Yeah, it's great to do that. Yet when there's 500 people in this script practice, even if they break you out with Script Jedi, I know they break you out in the breakout rooms. I'm with people I don't know. So like here, you guys are probably a little bit timid and shy to get on here and open up and have cameras on and talk to me, because you're like, I don't know this guy and I don't want to get called on, and, you know, got my head down in the back of the room and that. Same thing with script practice. With chat, with the AI, look, the feedback it gives, it's honest, it's gentle, it's direct. It will even, you can even ask it, okay, give me feedback. How do we do? And it will tell you how you did. So, Terry, I'm on ChatGPT right now. I'm glad I put the AI into it tonight. It was a kind of a last minute thing, so I appreciate you guys saying that. A bit apprehensive. Eric, don't be apprehensive about it. It's here. It's not going anywhere. Matter of fact, it's growing faster than, I don't know, anything else out there. It's here. We're not going to get rid of it. So just embrace it. And I think that's the biggest thing we all have to understand when it comes to the AI, is that if we're not embracing it now, you're going to get left behind. It's like any of the other technology. To be the best in the business, you're going to have to embrace the AI. So, but I get the apprehension behind it. All right. Anything else? Any last minute questions, comments? I appreciate you guys showing up tonight. I appreciate your feedbacks and your interactions. Thomas, I want you to dig deeper on that activity, buddy. And you're going to learn some stuff. I really love the fact you're doing it. So some of your clientele matches mine too. I heard dogs, I heard first responders and things. So some of your clientele matches what I've done too. So good thing you're out there and not here. I don't want. No, I'm kidding. All right, guys. You guys have. I will tell you right now, just so you know what to expect. You guys have Sarah Hill tomorrow for dynamic database and lead capture. The tech side of it. She should go over that open house registration through Command and a bunch of other things. I am back next Thursday to do the tech side with you guys. And Seth is back next Monday. So you got Sarah Friday. You get Seth back on Monday. Good old Anthony Rollins next week too. You'll love him. And then I'll be back next Thursday with you guys. So until then, I bid you adieu. Have a wonderful night. Thank you for everything. And I will see you next week.
Thank you. Have a good night. Yes.